This is the German Touring Car Masters, the fourth round, being held at the Euro Speedway in the Lausitz of Germany. This is turn one, a bank corner at the Euro Speedway. It looks easy, but it was going to be tough. This is Laurent Aiello's car after he hit the wall. He was uninjured, but the car would not be racing this weekend. It was the first time these cars would try the banked oval. But it wasn't just Aiello that had a problem. Christian Abt hit the wall, his teammate, his car too, totally damaged and out for the weekend. Problems for the Abt Audi team. Two of their top drivers in cars gone for the weekend. There would have to be a certain decision. Laurent Aiello certainly is worried. The defending champion wanted to defend his title. This could end that. So what they decided to do is take the two Audis from the young drivers in the field and give it to Christian Abt and Laurent Aiello. Thank goodness that Laurent wasn't injured. He will start in a different car. This is very important for the entire team. Teamwork at Abt. Well, that's how they solved the problem after the accident. I had a right front tire that went bad at about 170 miles an hour. As I turned, it went flat and I went right into the wall. The team said I hit the wall at about 146 miles an hour. It was hard. A hard collision, possibly due to tire damage. Christian Abt's car was damaged in turn one, reportedly because of a tire problem. This was caused by the extreme pressure in turn one, that's the banking, along with the demand now for aerodynamics, motor power, stronger brakes, and the tires really just couldn't handle it. Therefore, there was the accident. Laurent Aiello was another one who couldn't really make the connection between the tires and turn one.
I've just lost the car. The car started to slide a little bit on the rear, but in these kind of corners and 240, there is no place for sliding the rear, it looks like. I tried to recover the car, but it didn't work, and I spun and went into the wall, and it was quite a big shunt. And my car was broken, completely broken after that, and there was no possibilities for me to go again with this car.
Then came an unexpected decision from the race commissioners. For safety reasons, it's naturally possible to change the course. And this we have done. And it's being done as turn one will now be eliminated, and they'll go to the Grand Prix course, which is what they used last year. Safety is the main word of the German Touring Car Masters, and so all the people involved kept their heads and came to the right decision, even though it wasn't easy for all of them. Qualifying on Saturday, Peter Dumbrecht, the man of the hour for Opel. Opel is having a comeback this season. Dumbrecht proved it. He brought his Opel home third. It is the best starting position for an Opel this season. As far as Dumbrecht, well, he had a 9th qualifying position at Hockenheim. He was 5th fastest at the Adria in Italy. He was 7th fastest at the Nürburgring. And here on the Grand Prix course at the Euro Speedway, he brings his car in third. Dumbrecht, the man who came from Mercedes to Opel, has proven to this man here, Volker Stritzig, that he belongs and that Opel is coming back to the front of the field.
The big point for me is that I'm quick on the revised circuit, the new circuit, so I don't really care now. You know, as long as I'm quick, then I'll drive whatever they give me.
The Abt Audis were right up there with them, and it's the young Matthias Ekström from Sweden that was the man that put them there. Ekstrom, who has been a contender all season long, has not won a race, but has certainly been contending, is right up front here at the Euro Speedway, qualifying in second position. Ekstrom is currently 6th in the points race. He had an 8th at Hockenheim, a 2nd at the Adrian, Italy, and 7th at the Nürburgring. Here at the Euro Speedway, he hopes this is his chance to come back and put his car up front. And he has certainly a good shot at it, starting in the second qualifying slot.
Yeah, the strategy for tomorrow is clear. We did a very good setup for the race and make a good start like last race, and then push as hard as possible and see if I can pass or if they can follow, if I can follow.
Another good look at Matthias Ekstrom, one of the fine young drivers in the German Touring Car Masters. But then there is the master, Bernd Schneider, in a Mercedes. It looked like he may not be able to start on the pole. Ekstrom had done so well, but as Schneider has done year after year in these cars, he brought Mercedes once again to the front. Schneider takes the pole for the second time this year. He took the pole at Hockenheim and won the race. He certainly would like to do the same thing here at the Euro Speedway. He's running 3rd in the points. He'd like to get back to the top.
That was quite perfect, but I also was very confident because the car was very good the whole weekend so far, and if you're confident, sometimes everything goes a little bit easier.
There are your top 10, and look at that. Opel's also 5th and 6th in the field. Their best start ever. This is the Opera House in Dresden. It's one of the most beautiful in the world. Dresden also has the Frauenkirche and a castle, a number of historic buildings that paint the picture of this city. Over 4 million tourists visit this city each year. They can check the history of the area, study the cultural events, and simply enjoy the city. Businessmen come here for congresses, for exhibitions, and of course for races. The Euro Speedway, one of the major attractions for the city of Dresden. The crowds have been coming by the thousands. Today, they'll use the Grand Prix course on this beautiful facility with a tri-oval. American race series have come to the tri-oval. Today, the German touring cars are here for the Grand Prix circuit. Many fans ask Hans-Jürgen Abt for an autograph, not realizing that really he's not his brother. You see, his brother is the driver. These are two true Allgäuer citizens. They have a long motorsport history behind them. In 1896, Johann Abt started the business. The basis had been laid for Abt Sportsline. In 1920, Johann Abt went to the automobile, and the tuning firm was started. In 1952, the motorsports careers of the father of Hans-Jürgen and Christian started. Business and competition.
I
believe that when you run a company that's over 106 years old, there is a tradition. And for those who follow, it's going to be difficult to keep improving things, but that is the main job. Plenty of responsibility, but it's a great feeling. Today, Hans-Jürgen and his brother Christian are the business. Christian is 36 and has a long motorsports background. He started in 1991 in Formula Junior, and he won the championship. Then came the entrance into Formula 3, and in 1992, he took the overall victory in the B Cup. A year later, he was 6th in the A group. His boss at that time, his brother, Hans-Jürgen. In 1994, the Apps started their own race car design in the ADAC GT Cup. From there, the desire for touring cars started. It was love at first sight. 1996, they were in the Super Touring Car Championship. And in 1997, at the 24 Hours at the Nürburgring, they came in second in a Volkswagen. Success was there, thanks to the strength of Hans-Jürgen. I believe his discipline, and he's goal-oriented. And when he has something in his head, he wants to do it. And sometimes he can be really tough. 1999, the big moment. They won the championship in the Super Touring Car Championship. It came after the season after a protest, but they correctly won the title. The German Touring Car Masters followed in the year 2000, and they have been contenders, even though they had to pay some dues. 2001 was a little better. They had learned and were still learning. 2002, the big year. Christian led at Donington and made it to the podium. Then, the same year, Laurent Aiello wins the championship. The App team had done it. They could celebrate.
Yeah, and celebration especially, we're strong. We're similar.
We want to keep our feet on the ground. We try to be good to everybody. It's a positive influence. Hans-Jürgen in the pits, Christian in the car. Wasn't always that way, though. See, Hans-Jürgen also did some driving. 1983 in the Polo Cup, in 1991 the Ford Fiesta Mixed Cup. But today, his job is very clear. Tradition-oriented. So, that's how it's going to be for another generation of the Apps. Time now for the fans to get an up-close look and personal at their favorites. This is Manuel Reuter, one of the top Opel drivers, and this the tradition of the German Touring Car Masters. Over 60,000 fans are here at the Euro Speedway to celebrate the German Touring Car Masters. You can tell these fans are serious. They like their drivers. They like their racing. Christian Abt, Laurent Aiello from the Abt team. Mercedes fans, of course, also there. A look at the course now. As you can see, it's a very tight course using part of the super speedway. There will be 18 cars starting the race today. Here's how it looks. You've got Bernd Schneider on the pole, Matthias Ekstrom next to him. Schneider wants the championship back. He wants to win again. Then you have Peter Dumbrecht, the surprise for Opel, starting third. Marcel Fessler, another Mercedes driver looking at championship points. In the next row, Timo Scheider, one of the top young drivers in the field. Alain Menu, a veteran who is trying to finally make a name for himself in the series. Laurent Aiello, the defending champion, in a teammate's car after the crash in turn one. Then comes Christian Albers, a surprise young driver from the Netherlands. 2 wins so far this year. Carl Wendlinger next to him. Then comes Christian Abt and Manuel Reuter, Audi and Opel in that row. Then the teammates on the inside, Joachim Winkelhock at 42, the oldest driver, and Jeroen Blekemolen at 21, one of the younger drivers in the series. Newcomer Gary Paffett in his second attempt in the German Touring Car Masters. Stefan Mücker is scheduled to start in that position 16th. Then comes Thomas Jäger and Bernd Mailander in 2 of the Mercedes teams. These 2 drivers trying to come up with some better finishes in this season. And then there is Kanishi, the Japanese driver, in his first season. On the right, Schneider. On the left, Ekstrom. Schneider gets a tremendous jump, no question. And Fessler on the left in that black Mercedes may be taking over second, or is it Dumbrecht? It's Dumbrecht who gets inside into second place. Bernd Schneider takes the lead. Schneider in front, then Dumbrecht. Then after him comes Marcel Fessler, Ekstrom and the rest of the German Touring Car Masters team. You're riding with Laurent Aiello, who is behind Menu. They're now on to the the second straightaway on this tri-oval. Bernd Schneider running well with Dumbreck and the Opel right behind him. Then comes Fessler and Ekstrom. But look at that, the Opel Menu is right up there in 5th position. Timo Scheider is back in 8th after having a difficult start here. There's the defending champion in different colors. Normally he's in a yellow Audi, but here he's in this one here, the red and gray car of his teammates. Bernd Schneider, the veteran, 2 years ago the Terminator, lost the title. Laurent Aiello last year wants to get it back this year. They're scheduled to run 35 laps here on the 2.81 mile circuit, a mixture of the tri-oval and the main course. This Grand Prix course has been used every single year for these cars. One year, in fact, the first year they were supposed to run here, it was totally rained out. Washed out was a good word. But after that, it's been nothing but good sailing. And 60-some thousand fans today makes it even better. Once again, you're with Laurent Aiello back in the pack. There he goes, right there in front of you. Coming back out now onto the tri-oval, heading down the front straight, past the pit area. Listen to those fans. And look at those fans. A great crowd, one of the largest crowds of the year so far. Bernd Schneider takes them onto the Grand Prix course. They come onto the Grand Prix course right after pit lane. The pit lane can be a little difficult because you come out almost blind there when they do this. They had planned to use that first corner that you saw back there, but that'll happen next year. The rest of the field working its way around, coming out to that cement wall. Marcel Fessler continues to run in 3rd place. He's 2nd place in the points right now. Schneider is running back in 3rd place. Christian Albers is your point leader. Into the infield section, Bernd Schneider, Hans-Jürgen Abt, watching all the action. His car is back in the pack just a little bit, in 6th position, along with a 9th position. There you have Stefan Mürke, his car parked on the pits. They've got problems, and it looks like he won't come out for the race. But Opel fans certainly can rejoice today. Peter Dumbreck has their car up in 2nd place. The Opel team coming off a great win last week at the 24 Hours of Nürburgring in a German Touring Car Masters car that was set up for the 24 hours. They put on a tremendous performance, and they won the race. And that certainly must have given them tremendous impetus coming into this race this weekend, the 4th race of the season. The Opel crew went through a tremendous change. They reorganized everything, brought in new people, reworked the car, and now they're running 2nd and 5th. They're doing extremely well. There's Matthias Ekstrom, who you met earlier in the program, the young Swedish driver. A tremendous talent, way up above in front of some of the more veteran stars, putting on a fantastic show. Now you got the battle for 2nd and 3rd here as Dumbreck and that orange Opel followed by the black Mercedes. And there is Volker Stritzig. He could be a little happier today, at least right now anyway. He's had a couple of tough years with Opel trying to get back in to be competitive in this series. Marcel Fessler setting the fastest lap here early in the going, and right there he is with the black Mercedes with the green mirrors right behind Peter Dumbreck. Bernd Schneider is running well. He is always tough. He did not have things go the way he would like it at the Nürburgring in the last race in the series. The car was not working exactly the way he wanted it. Norbert Haug watching all the action from the Mercedes pits. But now it looks like things are going very, very well for him. Marcel Fessler got just a little bit waggling there. Once again, Volker Stritzig. He's got to be a happy man. He shows it, doesn't he? I think once you know Volker Stritzig, you realize that this man lives his team, lives to race, and lives to make Opel come to the front. They were there for a while. When they came back in, they weren't. And they've had a couple of years. And so you certainly have to give him at least the smile from the fact that they're running 2nd. That already is a tremendous performance this year. There's Laurent Aiello running back in the pack. The car not running quite up to where he is, but now Aiello has not really had that great a season so far, although he is in the points. Aiello, in fact, has finished third in the first 3 races of the season, in each one of them. Whoa, Fessler goes off. Your third place car has gone off. He's coming back on. He's coming back on in fifth place, it looks like. Hans-Jürgen App watching all this action. So now we've had a change as Fessler drops back. Here you get another look at it as he goes off. Fessler went off to the right. And now he's going to have to come back on. And it looks like he comes back on in about 5th position. There goes Ekstrom. Yes, he's running in 5th position after going off. Bernd Schneider now has started to build up a lead. Remember that in this series, there are 2 mandatory pit stops. They have to change all 4 tires, and they can add gasoline if they want to. It's not mandatory, but the tire change is. They cannot make the first tire change or any pit stop officially until the 6th lap. After the leader has completed 6 laps, then they can go in and do their first of the 2 mandatory pit stops. If they do one before that, then they still have to make 2 more pit stops after that. Tires are the critical issue here, particularly in the heat. It's very, very hot. It's up in the 90s. In the cars, it's well over 160. Once again, you're with Laurent Aiello. Back in the pack, behind Marcel Fessler. Did a good look at the straightaway, the second straight, and then they cut back into the infield here onto the Grand Prix course. The course has changed a little bit since they started it over a couple of years ago. This seems to be the best layout for the Grand Prix course so far and uses more of the super speedway section. So Timo Scheider, another of the Opels, sitting back there in 8th place. Your points leader, Christian Albers, is in 10th position. The fact that Stefan Rücke is in the pits and can't get started is really difficult for the young driver. He comes from Berlin. And of course that means he is one of the local favorites. They won't be able to see him race today. Well, you know, it's almost pit stop time. The crews are getting ready for the first of the mandatory pit stops. Ekstrom, Menu in the Opel. Another Opel doing extremely well here. There goes Dumbrecht, Ekstrom, Menu, Fessler, then the Audi of Laurent Aiello. We can expect the leaders coming in shortly. Bernd Schneider continues to roll here, and so does Peter Dumbrecht. The question is going to be, can Dumbrecht's Opel hold together? It should. Dumbrecht has won here before. There's the start. You can see how they got off, particularly here that Manuel Reuter got the jump a little too quick. Manuel Reuter in that black with the turquoise top. The officials say he jumped the gun. It's going to have to take a penalty for it. We don't get to see it from this angle, but you certainly get to see the start again from Laurent Aiello's view, heading into that first turn right after the entrance to the pits. Ooh, everybody got a little tight going into that first one. They worked their way through this series of corners leading to the straightaway. And look at this. Bernd Schneider has started to pull away. Bernd Schneider in his Mercedes, putting a little space between himself and Peter Dumbrecht. As we said, Dumbrecht has won here before. He has said in interviews the one thing now for him is to win. He raced for Mercedes. Mercedes decided not to keep him. He moved over to Opel, and he has become the top Opel driver this year. And right now, they're coming into pit. Ekstrom is in. Menu is in. Laurent Aiello is still out there. And we'll find out in a minute if he's going to pit. Here comes Peter Dumbrecht in. He's headed in for his mandatory pit stop. Ekstrom is behind him. Menu is behind him. Here comes Menu into his pit. Quick change of all tires, 6 to 7 seconds. He's out in 5.7. Wow, great pit stop for Alain Menu. Here comes Christian Albers in for his pit stop. Albers, your points leader, but running back in the pack here at the Euro Speedway. Just hasn't found the connection yet. He and his engineers haven't quite found the way to get in. Pit stop 7.3. Bernd Schneider still has to come into the pits. It's going to be a matter of whether he can get in and out in time, way ahead. He had a good lead on Dumbreck, but will it be enough to come back out in the lead after the pit stop? The Mercedes team is one of the fastest with pit stops, and now we'll find out if they can do it again. Ekstrom ahead of Kanishi. The Japanese driver being lapped here. He's in his first season. And he's going through what everyone else has had to go through when they come new into the series, and that's a learning phase, that's for sure. Even Jean Alesi, the former one driver, has had his acclimation problems. There's your leader, Bernd Schneider. He's going to have to come in the pits. He can't wait much longer. There it is. Now he's coming in. Question is going to be, can he get in the pits and out before Dumbreck comes around? It looks like when Marcel Fessler comes over the start-finish line, he will be the leader right now. There's the Mercedes crew waiting for Bernd Schneider to come in. He has a long way to go down the pit. There is Marcel Fessler. He is your leader. Jean Alesi is behind him. Here comes Bernd Schneider into the pits. .69, and he's out. And he's going to come out in front of Dumbreck. He does. Look at that. He came out in front of Dumbreck. So Schneider comes out in front of Dumbreck, which means now that Mailander is in the pits, that when Marcel Fessler pits, then it will be a case of going back to where we were before. As soon as the scoreboard catches up, it looks like Schneider should be in the lead. But Fessler and Alesi have to come in. Jaeger has to come in. And that will once again straighten out the field. These mandatory pit stops has certainly been quite a change in the series. They have decided a couple races. Last year, in fact, they cost Bernd Schneider an event. The team had a bad pit stop and he was out. You're with Laurent Aiello out on the road circuit. He'll go out on a straightaway here, make a left-hander and head back toward the super speedway. He comes sailing through here, will come down around, they'll work a right-hand, left-hand combination onto the super speedway. Marcel Fessler still out on the track. Laurent Aiello back in the pack. And we're still waiting. Timo Scheider is there. Aiello is behind Kanishi and finally gets by him. Kanishi's car running very, very well. Very fast down the straight. Aiello had to take him in the corner. There goes Christian Albers. He's just going to be driving for points today, it looks like. Right now, he's not in contention. He's driven some very smart races, but it doesn't look like he is quite there yet. You saw Gary Poppett having a problem. Here's another look at it. The newcomer to the series. But he hangs in there. There's Bernd Schneider. Dumbreck right behind him. Then comes Ekstrom and Menu. The Opel crowd has to be very happy. Jean Alesi still has not pitted, but must be going in here shortly. Peter Dumbreck is showing people that the Opel can run. Fastest lap so far. There you see right quickly at the bottom of your screen, Jean Alesi going in for his pit stop. Marcel Fessler still has not pitted, so he has kept the lead. Here comes Alesi getting down to the 50-mile-an-hour limit along the pit road. The officials are very strict about that speed limit in the pit area. It can cost you time with the penalty for a drive-through. But that's evidently not the case as Jean Alesi comes in. He's changing tires. So now the team will have to wait for Marcel Fessler as Alesi comes out. The Frenchman has won a race in the series, but he has not had a very consistent time so far. He comes out right in front of Christian Albers. Not exactly what Albers was looking for. Timo Scheider here at the bottom of your screen, another of the top Opel drivers. Then comes Laurent Aiello. There is Jean Alesi in the black Mercedes, followed by Christian Albers, a young Dutch driver who is doing so well this season. 24 years old, 2 victories to his credit, and points leader coming into this 4th race of the season. However, though, he's running back in the pack around 9th or 10th position. As soon as the pit stops are all over with, we'll know exactly where he is. Marcel Fessler continues to lead, but he's going to have to pit sooner or later. He's trying to wait till the last minute so he can conserve tires at the end of the race. That's the big question. Can the tires handle all this pressure on the Euro Speedway? Everyone else is just about pitted except him. But now, Marcel Fessler headed toward the pits, going to brake hard here, get down to the speed limit. Now he heads for his pits, which are way down the pit lane. Takes a while to get there, but then he's quick out when he's made the change. He comes in for the tire change and some gas. And gives up, 5.6, what a great time. But he gives up the lead to Bernd Schneider. So Schneider is in front. It looks like Fessler comes out in about 6th place. So he went from 1st place to 6th place, but he waited a long time before he went in for his pit stop. Now we're back to where we were before, pretty much. Schneider in front, followed by Dumbreck, Ekstrom, Menu. Timo Scheider's moved up into 5th place. Aiello is 6th. Then comes Alesi, and Albers now is all the way up into 8th place. Christian Opp, driving one of the other cars, his also wrecked in the time trials on Friday, is in 9th position. And the veteran Jochen Winkelhock is running in 10th place. Alain Menu, a former British touring car champion. This right here is a top champion in most cars that he has driven. The only bad time he ever had was in Formula One, but he was not with a very competitive team. But then Bernd Schneider moved over. He has driven touring cars so successfully that he will become probably the winningest touring car driver in German history. He has driven the sports prototypes. He's driven GT cars very, very successfully. And once again, it looks like he's really in the groove here at the Euro Speedway. The car is running very, very smoothly, and he has just been superb. One of the apt Audis coming into the pits here at the Euro Speedway in front of some 62,000 fans. Laurent Aiello headed toward the pits. The defending champion looking to pick up some points. They have not been that competitive this year as they were last year. Mercedes has done a tremendous amount of work over the winter and have really started to dominate like they had in years past. They have taken the pole position in all the races so far, and the Mercedes has won all the races so far. Other drivers have been finishing 2nd and 3rd, but right now it's still quite a Mercedes show. Coming in the pits right there was Thomas Jäger in the Original Teile Mercedes. So the pit stops, the first set, should now be totally behind us. And the Opel crew certainly can be a very happy bunch. Audi's not too bad either. Thanks to that car right there at the bottom of your screen, Matthias Ekström. He's running very, very well. So Bernd Schneider is out in front as the last of the cars make their pit stops. There's Bernd Mailander coming out. He's the driver for the pace car, Formula One. And this right here is the man who is dominating the field here at the Euro Speedway. Bernd Schneider ahead of Peter Dumbreck, and look at the distance here. Here comes Timo Scheider in. Timo Scheider making his second pit stop, but the second sets of mandatory will be coming up. There comes Marcel Fessler. Timo Scheider will come back onto the track. Marcel Fessler will come out behind him. There you see the second sets of pit stops. Oh, and Fessler hits Menu. Marcel Fessler hits Alain Menu coming out of the pits. We had talked a little bit before about the fact it's a blind pit area. And that's something that can happen here. Using this Grand Prix course, trying to regain the track. That hurt Alain Menu, but he was able to keep going and gets back out on the course. That's after the two cars touched.
Well, with Marcel, Marcel was coming out of the pits, and really you don't see if there is a car on the track.
Bernd Schneider, your leader. Peter Dumbreck is running in second place. It's the way it's been throughout most of the race, with the exception of the first pit stops. Looking here back in the pack just a little bit. Timo Scheider is running right behind Matthias Ekström. It's the Audi and the Opel, and two of the young drivers in the series going at it here. Ekström at 24 years of age, and Timo Scheider also at 24. Two young stars that have been in touring cars now for a couple of years and certainly are making their mark. Some of the big names are having to follow them around the series, including Jean Alesi, the former Formula One driver. Battle back in the pack. That is Menu and Christian Albers. Opel against Mercedes. Menu, who has had pretty successful years in the German Touring Car Masters, but not necessarily what he'd like to have. There's Christian Albers running right behind him. Take another look at this as Albers comes around, but not going to be going anywhere. Oh, and Albers went off the course. Matthias Ekström running in third. Timo Scheider in the Opel running fourth. And there's going to be a stop-and-go penalty for Marcel Fessler. This is a result of that contact with Alain Menu. Meanwhile, the battle for third and fourth is very tight. Granted, this is a very hard course to pass on. It's just very, very difficult. And when the two cars are equal and the drivers are equal, then it's almost impossible to pass. Timo Scheider would love to be able to get by Ekström. However, if the field stays as it is right now with Mercedes, Opel, and Audi, it'd be the first time this season that all three makes were on the podium at the end. Volker Stritzig. Norbert Haug right in the middle of that one. Watching their respective cars. And back in the pack, the battle for third and fourth continues. Bernd Schneider is your leader. Peter Dumbreck is behind them. They're way away from the field, and there's quite a distance separating these two cars here in the fourth event of the season of the German Touring Car Masters at the Euro Speedway in the Lausitz of Germany. Norbert Haug with Mercedes. There he is, the man that's carrying Opel's future, Peter Dumbreck. Then comes the third place car, Matthias Ekström. Here comes Timo Scheider, wants to go inside, thought about it, but then didn't make the move. Ekström is going to be very, very difficult to pass. These two young drivers, certainly some of the best of the young crop coming up, they don't give an inch. Ekström has proven that he has the talent. A great view of the speedway from way up high. And in coming years, they're hoping that the touring cars can use more of the super speedway and less of the Grand Prix circuit, but that's yet to come. with first and second, you can see quite a distance there of almost 5 seconds between them. It's the battle between Ekstrom and Scheider that everybody is watching. Here comes Marcel Fessler in for his penalty. He has to do a stop and go. He comes in. He's off. That just about takes him out of the top 5, that's for sure. Fessler continues to roll. He had a good lead in his area, but there goes Bernd Schneider. Then comes Peter Dumbrecht. 1 and 2 here in the German Touring Car Masters. Peter Dumbrecht, since joining the team, has been the man up front for this man right here, Volker Stritzig. The Opel team can finally smile after almost 2 years of having a very hard time. Many disappointments, a couple of almosts. Now they're almost there, but they certainly have the chance to have their best finish ever, a second place in the German Touring Car Championship. Bleekemolen from the Netherlands goes off the course. He is in his first year of racing in this German Touring Car Series. When the series goes up to the Netherlands, of course, he'll be one of the ones that the Dutch fans will be following very closely, right along with Christian Albers. Well, right now, the German fans are following that car right there, Timo Scheider. Bleekemolen walking away from the course. He'll get off and get behind the fencing. Opel crew looking to the end of this race. And of course, it's the end of the day already for Bleekemolen.
I lost connection with the ECU. I think the plug was out, or maybe it was too hot. I don't know exactly. So it was a shame that it happened.
Laurent Aiello having his problems in one of his teammates' cars after the crash in training, but he is still running and trying to keep himself up in contention and seeing if he can come up with some points. He's running right now in 8th, which would mean he'd get a single point at least. Points given for the first 8 positions. A battle of Mercedes and Opel. This is Marcel Fessler getting by Winkelhock. Fessler had the stop-and-go penalty and dropped him back quite a ways, but he has battled back now, and we didn't think that was quite possible. He got right up. He's now in 5th place. So he's going to be in the points. He'll keep himself in contention for the points title. Meanwhile, back in 3rd and 4th, the picture's the same. Timo Scheider in the Opel right there, looking for a way to get by Matthias Ekstrom. He has not been able to do it. Ekstrom in the Audi has been very, very strong. Your 3rd and 4th place cars. You get a good look at the fans here at the Euro Speedway. Ekstrom, an extremely fine young driver. And Bernd Schneider, the best in Germany right now, if not in Europe. Touring cars and he come right together. Now that he sits in Mercedes after they had a difficult year last year, Bernd is running superbly. He won at Hockenheim, finished 5th in Italy, was 4th at the Nürburgring. Now he has a chance for victory. Bernd Schneider leader, couple laps to go before the end of the race. Peter Dumbrecht. Opel's hopes are on his shoulders. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to catch Bernd Schneider, but for the Opel crew, the important thing is he's finishing 2nd. The best finish for Opel in a very long time. It also shows you they are back. I mentioned earlier they won the 24 hours of endurance at the Nürburgring last weekend in a modified German Touring Car Masters touring car, and that gave them a tremendous lift. Volker Stritzig, the team manager, even drove in that race. At the end of that one, there were tears in his eyes as he waved the Opel flag. Manuel Reuter driving the car to victory. That seemed to have changed the hopes for the crew from Rüsselsheim, Germany. But right now, The one they still are going to have to catch is this one here. Bernd Schneider in the Mercedes. 2 years ago, he was unbeatable. The competition's gotten stiffer. But when the car is running, as it is today, he is simply tough to beat. And he's making that point once again here in the German Touring Car Masters. And a victory today would give him 37 and make him the winningest German touring car driver ever. And when you include the International Touring Car Championship, where he won those races too. Klaus Ludwig had held that title up until now. It doesn't look like Scheider is going to be able to get by Ekstrom. We're in the next to last lap. These are big moments for Volker Stritzik and his crew. They're going to celebrate a second place finish probably just as much, if not more, than finishing first right now. Actually, the fourth place finish doesn't hurt either. Second and fourth, great day for the Opel crew. It doesn't look like Scheider's going to be able to make the move. Kanishi coming by the lap car. These cars, once they go by the start-finish line, they'll be in their last lap here at the Euro Speedway. An amazing day. Here comes Bernd Schneider. One more lap to go. 2.81 miles. His second victory of the season. Peter Dumbrecht running second. And as you can see, plenty of running room between that Dumbrecht and that blue Audi, coming up with Timo Scheider behind him. Matthias Ekstrom in the Audi. There you see Jean Alesi in that black Mercedes. And the rest of the crew working their way through. That was Menu and then also Albers. You're riding right now with Menu, looking back at Christian Albers. Albers looks like he'll pick up a point here, or two points in the championship, but if it goes like it's going now, he will give up the lead to Bernd Schneider. But the race isn't over yet. There's Menu and Christian Albers. Menu putting on a great performance for the Opel crew. They can certainly smile today. But so can this man. Bernd Schneider going for a record number of wins in German touring car racing. The car is running on a rail. It has been perfect all day. He has just simply dominated the competition. That's simply the way things were a couple years ago when he was in control. All the races were like that. The Mercedes crew is happy. Here he comes, heading toward the Mercedes pits. Your winner, Bernd Schneider of the Euro Speedway. A happy Mercedes crew and, of course, Peter Dumbrecht. Look at the yellow Opel flags. They couldn't be any happier. Peter Dumbrecht giving Opel its best finish of the season so far. Kanishi comes by, the lap car, and here comes the Audi. Matthias Ekstrom ahead of Timo Scheider. We have the Mercedes, Opel, Audi, podium. We haven't had that before. And with that victory, it looks like Bernd Schneider has taken over the points lead in the German Touring Car Masters. Another great day for Mercedes. 4 races, 4 poles, 4 wins, but Volker Stritzik knows the Opels are back. Now they have to beat this man right here. Mercedes crew getting ready to meet their number 1 driver, Timo Scheider from Opel, a very happy man.
It was a fantastic race. It's amazing to be back on the nice way to the podium, and it was unbelievable the last 3 or 4 laps. But it was nice, and thanks to my team, they did a great job.
No, it was extremely hot in the car, and I think already after 10 or 15 laps I started to feel that the feet and the arms and everything was getting extremely hot, and also the car and me today, I mean, I drove everything I could, but we were not fast enough compared to Opel and Mercedes, but that's how it can be in motor racing, and we come back for the next race.
There are the top 10, but it's a great day for one man in particular, Peter Dumbrecht.
Yeah, it's a fantastic result. I'm really beginning to like this place. I was the winner in 2001, Now I'm here in 2003, back onto the podium with Opel. I think it's a fantastic result for myself and the team.
And what more can you say about this man, Bernd Schneider?
It was absolutely brilliant. I had a good start. This is not quite usual for us. We had some problems in the last two races, but we improved a lot in this case. And afterwards, my car was just perfect. I never ever had any problem. Big compliments to my team.
And that does it for the racing today at the Euro Speedway. This is Milt Fitzwater. I hope you'll join us for the next event, the street course in the city of
Hi fans, I see you at the Lausitzring.